So, ladies and gents, The Flash. Rotten Tomatoes score has been revealed. Not just that, by the way. We've got some other elements that have been revealed as well. This is kind of interesting, to be fair. So, this is essentially like a review roundup. We've got loads of other reviews here. Look, it's interesting. Take all this with a pinch of salt. Go watch it for yourself if it appeals to you from the trailer, obviously. Don't take my word for it. But, yeah, the review embargo is quite late on this. Quite late. This releases next weekend. Not this coming weekend, but, in just over a week's time. And although the reactions online have been very, very positive, the score itself doesn't, it's not epic, it's not great. It's not a disaster, but it's not incredible either. So what is it? Keep you in suspense. 73% from 78 reviews. Again, not horrendous. Not horrendous by any stretch. However, and this is what's really interesting, the Metacritic score is, about 60. So it's a little bit lower for those that don't like listening to Rotten Tomatoes. 60. Not epic. Not epic. That puts it, as per this article, what would be a rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. And Rotten Tomatoes has been changing a lot. Well, in fact, so has Metacritic. Loads of people have been changing stuff recently. So let's take a look and see what these reviews are saying. I do this with most films coming out because I find it interesting. Kind of my review roundup, as it were. And this is a movie which I think a lot of people are actually interested in, but I think a lot of people are like, should I go watch this? Because they're rebooting everything. So, this could give you an indication of whether you want to watch it or not. Lola Lamb Chops, great name. I'm suffering from a little bit of multiverse fatigue. The highlights include Supergirl and Michael Keaton as Batman. Kind of what you expect, to be fair. They've led their marketing with Michael Keaton's Batman. If you wanted to watch this from that, you'll probably get what you want, I think. I think that's basically what this is. If you watch the trailer and was like, yeah, you'll probably get what you want out of it. So we had this, Preston Barter. It's strange to be watching and reviewing another superhero movie like The Flash in the wake of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which, by comparison, is like measuring gourmet with fast food. That said, The Flash is some tasty fast food. Interesting. Not massively positive, comparing gourmet with fast food, but never mind. A reasonably entertaining multiverse-themed superhero adventure. Okay. The best chemistry in the whole film is the one that Ezra Miller has with Ezra Miller. And that actually corresponds with what I had heard from my sources about this film. Flash is more of an homage to what the DC Universe was, rather than a reset button. Now that's interesting. We had this. This is our first negative. So if you think I'm just being negative, this is our first actual negative. White noise fan service that doesn't register as anything beyond pointless action, devoid of character-driven stakes, filled with horrendous CGI, and Ezra Miller is the only decent aspect, and I shudder to think how awful The Flash would be without him. Well, the trailer showed awful CGI, but that's a 2 out of 5. I mean, that's pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, if you were expecting great CGI from the trailer, you're an idiot, because the CGI in the trailer is abysmal. Feels like the first DC film in a long time, like Superman 2, that finds the ideal balance of action, engaging plot, likeable characters, whose default personality isn't shades of brooding with equal parts pathos and fun. Ezra Miller turns out to be every bit as on the spectrum manic, antsy and impulsive as you'd expect. That doesn't sound good to me, personally, but still positive. A little flashy for a summer blockbuster film. But overall, The Flash is quirky, quick-witted, emotional, and relatable, with his own twist on the DC multiverse. Now, into what is considered to be proper negatives now. Ezra Miller is definitely an acquired taste as the lead character. Perhaps most troubling of all is how much more interesting both the older Batman character, Michael Keaton, and the new Supergirl character are in support. Not great praise if they're more interesting than the lead, but okay. Falling victim to its own thematic mantra, The Flash refuses to let go of the past, instead allowing it to define what it has become in the present. In other words, a hodgepodge of former glories with no clear identity of its own. So, two major negatives there. The Flash is a fun and adventurous film that brings a lot of nostalgia, member berries, and DC goodness into the fold. Michael Keaton as Batman is definitely the highlight of the film. I've been saying this for a while, like, that's not great. He's your highlight. It's not going to go anywhere, so bit of a shame. The Flash is a satisfying superhero experience, complete with epic scale, heartfelt emotion, a backdoor origin story, and a few issues along the way. What The Flash bungles in franchise reconstruction, because this is literally Man of Steel, and formal execution, it gets right in fan service and momentary pleasures. This first feature film featuring the subatomically fast DC Comics hero is a zippy and entertaining blast, and yet it nonetheless manages to serve up a few heartfelt moments amidst its all carefully choreographed chaos. Let's get to some more negatives for those that want them specifically. I've read out a lot of positives now, so please don't think I'm not being objective, because I am. In fact, we're out of balance. For as much as all the talk of portending fate leads to dashing heroics in the extravagant The Flash, one can slow their roll, step back, and see plenty of the hot mess and crapshoot Michael Keaton's Batman was talking about in character. Not good. While the core conceit of Warner Brothers Discovery's The Flash is solid, the movie's too meta. Nostalgia plays highlight everything that has gone awry with the studio's superhero movie experiment. Considering how The Flash makes many of its characters face death and inevitably throughout The Flash should not feel as hollow as it does. A morally specious movie that's mostly about reflogging the cultural canon of an entertainment conglomerate. Fucking hell, some of these are real bad. To offer the film any kind of praise is an uneasy task, because its star is one of the most controversial Hollywood figures in recent memory. So that's someone that won't separate the art from the artist, which is a perfectly valid critique, because he did go on a weird assault rampage across Hawaii. It's a pitiful disservice to itself, fucking hell, turning a relatively fun, if rocky, movie into nothing but another product designed as a carousel where you can point at things and people you recognise. Jesus. Despite a promising start, The Flash is not the multiverse game changer it wants to be seen as. It barely feels like a final draft. This film's been in the works for a long time. They really have changed a lot of drafts here. The Flash feels caught between too many things it wants to keep a hold of, which flies against the film's lesson of letting go. It feels like a brand that wants to have all of its cards on the table in case it wants to pivot to the most popular one. I can see why, because, you know, this is a film and a property and a character which they may want to, you know, pull over into the new DC. It's well-trod territory at this point, even for a speedster. Maybe nerd culture was a mistake. Fuck it, that's hilarious. Despite some diverting touches, Miller's smirking, gurning, munging doppelganger performance is a trial, and in any case, gets lost in the inevitable third act CGI battle apocalypse. Yeah, I kind of expected that. I guess I'm supposed to be impressed. I'm not, I was bored as hell. The Flash is a passable multiverse movie, but no amount of DC cameos can make audiences forget the awful off-screen actions of Ezra Miller. Honestly, it is perfectly valid to comment on those things, because a lot of other people will be thinking the same stuff. So it's not looking good. Some of this is real bad. It's not like epic reviews across. A lot of, even the good ones, are very much like cameos, muddled time travel. I mean, how's that positive? A movie that spends all its time racing from one poorly thought out story element to another, from one only modestly satisfying nostalgia shout out to another, with only questionable results. How fitting, yet how disappointing. The Flash has the runs. Anyway, it's not looking good. Seeing Keaton was fun. It's not quite the disaster that some of the previous DC films have been. Yet it never fully finds its own identity. Look, we'll see in a couple of weeks, well, just over a week's time, how good this does. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Cheers, guys. Take care.